Hello everybody, it's Karen here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. Today's card is inspired by something that I saw on, I think it was Craft TV. It was one of the craft shopping channels that we have here in the UK anyway. And it was inspired by a die, which I think is by Karen Burniston for Elizabeth Crafts. And when they opened the card, out popped a beautiful pot of flowers. Now, I looked at that and I thought, wow, that is amazing. And then I thought, actually, I wonder if I could do something similar with Stampin' Up products. So I've had a go, and this is what I've come up with. So stick with me, and I'll show you how I did it. I've cut the little house from the Home Sweet Home die set, and I've used Cajun Craze, which seems to me a very terracotta-y flower potty colour, and I'm going to chop off the bits that I don't need. So I'm going to start by just making it clear to myself where they are, because I don't want this here, and I'm not worrying about slicing off that piece there, because I'm going to be dealing with that in just a second. So I'm lining it up with the cutting channel on my mat, and I can just see a little bit of the edge of the cutting channel there, and I can see that it's lined up there, and I'm going to bring my blade across and slice. And there it is. And could probably do with a little bit of tidying up, but we'll worry about that later. Now, same thing for this one. I'm going to go corner to corner, and the same thing again. Don't need those pieces, and I'm just going to straighten this edge up here. That's better. Okay. So now I am going to score, and I'm going to line that edge up with the mark. That mark along there, can you see it? So it's the centimetre mark, and I'm going to start at the edge just there, and I'm going to do the same thing for this edge. So I'm lining it up with that centimetre mark just there, and I'm bringing my scoring blade in, and I'm lining it up just to there. So now, next thing, I'm going to take my snips, and I'm just going to chop down just as far as that score line, and the same thing here. And I'm also going to take a piece out of the line just there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other piece. So I've treated the second piece in the same way, and now I'm going to burnish my folds carefully. Okay. And this piece here, I don't need that piece. So I'm just going to cut it off about level with the piece on the other side. And I actually don't really need any of these pieces at all, but I'm going to fold them over so that it looks neat and tidy. And when I forgot to burnish that one. Okay. Now, when I close up my flower pot, these pieces stick out, so I want to trim them so that they are running in the same shape as the flower pot. And I'm just turning over my card and just snipping away the extra bits, the bits that I don't need. And this is the last piece. And there we are. I've already done this piece, so now I'm going to start to put them together. I'm just going to stick these flaps down onto the card beneath so that they don't move around. Now, it's a choice. You can leave them, you know, you can leave them free if you like. That's entirely up to you. But I've decided for this version I will glue them down. I will tape them down. And snail is fine for that, because it's not structural, it's not holding any weight. So I have put tear and tape on the flaps of each piece, and I'm going to start by putting 2 of the pieces together. Sorry that segment ended a bit abruptly. The phone rang and I had to go and answer it. So just to recap what I've just done, I've taken the 2 sections and I've joined them together here with tear and tape. I've got my tear and tape on this flap ready to close up, but I'm not going to close up yet because I want to put the piece that's going to hold the flowers in. So I have a piece of Cajun Craze, which is about 1/2 inch by about, I don't know what, 3.5 inches long. It's not critical because I'm going to trim it down to size, and I've placed the card, the card piece inside the joined up pieces, and I'm just going to close. Which way around did I do it? I did it that way. I think, yes, I did it that way. I'm just going to close up the card on it so that it creases it with, it gives it that same angle as the rest of it. Alright, now I want to decide how and where this is going to sit, and I think I'm going to put it there. And to begin with, I'm just going to shut it up with some wet glue. And the reason I'm doing this is because I am not all that clever when it comes to the angles of things and where they should be. And I'm putting that about 1/8 of an inch below the edge of the flower pot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it up and I'm going to decide where it's all going to sit afterwards. And I think actually that's a little bit far forward, so I'm going to move that just this way a little bit and wipe off that glue. See, this is all trial and error. Okay, and I think I can probably chop off a bit of that. So I'm not chopping off more until I'm absolutely sure how much I'm going to need. Okay, so I'm now going to close up the other side of my flower pot. I'm just letting that get out of the way and not cause any bother to anybody. Okay, and now here is my pot, and now this is where I'm just going to sort of wing it. So I'm just going to squish that with my fingers until it's sitting pretty much where I want it. And I'm going to pick up my Tombow, which has sort of fallen on the floor. Well, actually it fell into my handbag, which is sitting next to my craft table here. So so that was lucky. Okay. Okay, and I'm trying to keep this right angled. Okay. And now I have the support to put my flowers onto. My card base is going to be Peekaboo Peach, so I've just taken a piece of A4, cut it in half, folded it in half. I actually sponged the edges of this in Peekaboo Peach as well. And I have a scrap of Peekaboo Peach left over, which is about 3¼ inches by, it's about just over an inch, I think. And I'm going to score it very carefully at the 1/2 inch mark. Now, because this is quite a narrow piece of card, I'm going to put my blade out of the way. It's quite difficult to get a grip on, and Ideally I would have got a slightly longer piece of card and maybe cut it down, but sorry, not longer, wider. I'm trying to keep that fairly straight, but it's not going to matter too much. It's not going to be too critical. Okay. Right, now, the reason why I didn't cut this to size before I started is because this is asymmetrical. Okay, the reason why I didn't cut this exactly to size before I started is because this piece the base is not square, it's a rectangle. Can you see? So that side is a different length to that side. And I'm just going to fold along the edge there because I want the square edge. And I'm just going to cut a piece that is about that size. Okay. And I'm going to fold it. Now this is all going to be hidden inside, so don't worry too much about it not being totally neat and perfect, because it isn't going to be seen, okay? So I'm just kind of folding it at that point. So I have an end that is slightly longer. Excuse me, I've got a phone call. Taken my scored bit of card and I have cut it into two pieces along the fold line where I did my rough measuring, and now I am going to snip just a little bit off the sort of shorter end, and this end here, hang on, show which way I want it to go. I want it to be that way, so out of this end here, that's right, I think I'm going to cut a big right angle triangle. Alright, so right along the hypotenuse, and that is going to sit inside there just like that. And I want it to stick quite well, so I'm going to put some Tombow on there. I want a wet adhesive, and again you could use fuse, and I'm folding it, okay, so that it will sit flat, because this is what is going to attach my flower pot to my card. Alright, so for this piece it's just the same, so I'm going to trim off these edges so that they will fit inside the card, inside the flower pot I should say, and this is going to be my folded out corner, so nice big right angle triangle out of there, some adhesive, and pop that inside. Okay, and I want to let that get nicely set. Right, so can you see that when I've got it open I should have pretty much a straight line across that piece there. That is what is going to make the magic happen. That is what is going to make it work. Alright, now I've glued on the extra pieces so that they will be the same colour as my base card, and therefore not be so obvious when we come to stick the card together in just a moment. That's had a few minutes for the glue to set, so I'm now going to put it into my card. And again, I am using Tombow, I'm using wet glue. You need a strong adhesive because this is going to get played with. Alright, people are going to think that this is really neat, and they are going to be opening and closing this card like I don't know what. So I'm just placing this just about halfway down, and I'm setting it up so that I have a corner along my fold, right, and another corner along my fold, so that when the card is open, my flower pot will stand up nice and square. Can you see that? That's how that works. So again, I'm going to let that have a couple of seconds just to dry. I'm going to wipe away any bits that have escaped, and I will almost certainly come back with an adhesive eraser. See, I've got a bit enthusiastic with the glue there, and I will come back with an adhesive eraser and I will clear that off, because the last thing I want is for this to be stuck shut. So if I close it, now I need to make sure that when I close it, no bit of my insert is visible, because as you can see, I've been busy. I cut out some flowers using the Flower Fair framelits, and I used all of the colours that are in the paper. So there's Daffodil Delight, there's Flirty Flamingo, there's Peekaboo Peach, and the leaves I cut out of Pear Pizzazz and Cucumber Crush, and I just went mad. I just cut out a pile of them, and then I took some of the stamps that are in the Flower Patch set. I don't know how well you can see, but I overstamped onto the die cuts, and I just went bonkers, made a pile of them. Okay, I don't know whether I'm going to use them all. I may use some, I may not. Now, when I set this up, I had in mind that that single bar going along there would be enough, and I'm no longer sure that it will be. I may want to fill this a little bit more. So what I have done, I have cut myself two little corners, if you like, of the Cajun Craze, and I'm just going to stick them down onto that cross piece so that they're standing at a right angle. So I don't want that one to go. So that one is sort of like that, right? And this one will be there. So I have two little extra pieces that I can glue flowers to if I need to. All right, I don't have to. All right, so what I'm going to start doing now is arranging my flower and leaf die cuts, but I want to make sure that they don't extend beyond the edge of my card when it's folded. Okay, see, that would be wrong. If I put that there, that wouldn't work at all. So yeah, that's not working terribly well either. Never mind. But if I put that there, that stays nicely within the borders of my card. So I'm just going to mess about with these and fill my flower pot, and see you in a bit. Okay, so I've filled up my pot with quite a few flowers. Maybe I could get a few more in there, but that's all I'm going to do for now. And I'll check that when I close my card, nothing pops out over the edges. So as you're putting your pieces in, as you're gluing your pieces in, you know, stop and check before you really stick them down to make sure that nothing's protruding out of the side. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off the inside of this card, and I've cut a couple of pieces of fruit stand paper, which are 3 inches by I think 5.5, so that they fit inside the card without anything just there. And I'm going to be using the size of the stripes, although the peaches are very pretty as well, and colours coordinate perfectly with the Peekaboo Peach card. And I could also put a piece of Whisper White on there so that I've got somewhere to write my greeting if I wanted to. And I'm just applying this with some snail. Lining that up nice and straight. And there you go. There is my pop-up flower inside my card. A little piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is 1 inch by about 3.5, 3 3/4 inches. That isn't really critical, as long as it is going to be long enough. I have the Happy Blooming Birthday on my block from the Flower Patch stamp set, and I'm using Old Olive ink. Old Olive is one of the colours. I think that is in that DSP, but if it's not, it's close enough to Paper Zaza, it doesn't really matter. So I'm hovering, and I'm going to press down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got my silicone mat underneath my paper to provide a surface for my ink to go into, and that has stamped my sentiment. And I'm just going to clear that away and just wipe off my block and my stamp. I'll give that a good clean afterwards with the stamping scrub, but that'll do for now. Okay, triple banner punch, and I'm going to put my sentiment into there and snip off. Okay, right. So I'm going to bring back the front of my card. Now, first of all, I'm going to put this piece of DSP onto the front of the card. And again, it's from the same bundle. It's from the same stack of DSP, the fresh fruit. Or is it? Yeah, the fresh fruit. Or is it fruit stand? I can't remember which way around it is. I think it's fresh. I think the paper's fresh fruit, and the stamps are fruit stand, I think, or it might be the other way around. I'll have to check. Okay, right. So that is a nice bright floral cover to the front of my card. That's easy for you to say. And there is my banner. So I want to put another banner onto it. So I'm just trying to decide which will look best on the card. So should I have that, or should I have that? I can't do that because the writing's going the wrong way. I cut this for another project and then decided not to use it. And do you know what? I think I'm going to use this because I'm going to finish it with, where's it gone? Here it is. This flower here, and that will fit quite nicely. So because that was 1 inch wide, I'm going to bring back my stamping trimmer, and I'm going to cut a piece of this that is 1.5 inches. Where are we? So there's 1 inch. And same thing happens again. Here's my triple banner punch, and this just slips nicely into the 1.5 inch channel. Turn it over and punch. And you know, you don't really need that punch. You can kind of tag things up by hand. It just makes life a little bit easier for you. Okay. So if I layer those up like that. So this one is going to go, whoops, onto my card first, like that, and this one is going to go on top of it. And I'm keeping this all quite flat because the card itself has got quite a bit of dimension on it already, because that is sort of padding it out a bit. Where the flowers are kind of making it pop out a bit. So I'm just going to keep the front nice and flat. So here is my flower. Just going to go right about there. And it's had a bit of adhesive. Seem to have acquired an extra leaf there. Don't know where that came from. And they are. There it is. There's the front of my card all finished up, and when I open it up, inside up pops my pot of flowers. So I do hope that you've enjoyed this project, and if so, please do give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe to my channel. Please feel free to share this wherever you think people would like to see it. I would love it if you would visit my blog or my Facebook page. Details are underneath this video, and there is also a link to my Stampin' Up shop where you can get hold of the supplies that I have used. But for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.